Time now to check in with Sydney Shaddricks for East Texas News at 5. Sydney, learning a whole lot more about the next steps Texas might be taking to get more people vaccinated.
Anissa, that's right. And new this evening, a new group of Texans is eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. We'll tell you who coming up next. And President Biden speaking out after Governor Abbott lifted the statewide mask mandate. What he's saying and how Texas Senator John Cornyn is responding. And an East Texas school just wrapped up a year of longer weekends. How they're moving forward with a new school schedule in 2021. East Texas News at 5 starts right now.
Caring, committed, proud of East Texas. You're watching East Texas News at 5.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for East Texas News at 5. The Texas Department of State Health Services says school and child care personnel are now eligible to be vaccinated against COVID-19. A letter from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services defines people eligible as, quote, those who work in pre-primary, primary, and secondary schools, as well as Head Start and Early Head Start programs. This includes teachers, staff, and bus drivers. The directive says those who work as or for licensed child care providers, including center-based and family care providers, are also eligible for the vaccine. Meantime, the Texas Education Agency has updated its guidance on face coverings in schools. The new guidance gives local school boards the authority to determine its own school's policy. The guidance also states that a public school system can keep its current practices on masks. For more information, visit our websites at KLTV and KTRE.com. A week from today, the Texas mask mandate will be lifted and the state will open to full capacity. But an East Texas hospital leader says it is happening too soon. The chief medical officer for UT Health East Texas says those in the healthcare field were dismayed with yesterday's announcement. He says while hospitalizations are down to the levels they were last May, he knows what can happen when mitigation measures are relaxed too soon.
The masking mandate's going away, but the risks are still high. So please continue to wear your masks. Please continue to avoid large gatherings. Please continue to wash your hands and do all the things we've been trying to do. If we can keep it suppressed for another couple of months, I really feel like between that and vaccinations, we've got a good shot of really coming back towards normalcy.
Cummins says UT Health East Texas will continue to require masks for employees and patients. Christus Health tells us that they'll do the same. And Brookshire Grocery Company is responding to Governor Abbott's executive order that ended the statewide mask mandate. In a statement, the company says they will, quote, strongly encourage customers to wear face masks in their Brookshire's and Super One food stores. They will require employees and vendors to wear face masks while in the store. And new tonight, President Biden is reacting to decisions by Texas and Mississippi to roll back COVID-19 restrictions. The president had this to say at the White House today.
We've been able to move that all the way up to the end of May to have enough for every American, to get every adult American to get a shot. And the last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime, everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it.
Also new tonight, Texas Senator John Cornyn saying President Biden shouldn't be preaching about Texas.
He's got a crisis at the border that he calls a challenge and not a crisis, dismantling all of our immigration laws and protections to protect our border. And so I don't think he's got a lot to say about preaching to my state about how we've handled this COVID-19 virus.
Now, White House officials are urging Americans to stay vigilant and to practice proper safety precautions as nearly a dozen other states loosen their COVID-19 restrictions. This as hopes of Americans getting a vaccine are increasing. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
A stern warning from the CDC director saying now is not the time to let our guards down when it comes to COVID-19 restrictions.
Today, we are at a critical nexus in the pandemic. So much can turn in the next few weeks.
Hospital admissions have gone down nearly 50% in the last month, but the daily case average has increased 3.5% over the last 7 days. And experts worry numbers could go up even more with new variants spreading. Still, Texas Governor Greg Abbott ending his statewide mask mandate and reopening businesses to full capacity starting next week.
I'm good with the 100% on the restaurants.
Since the vaccine is not really readily available, I just don't really feel comfortable putting all my staff at risk.
At least 11 states have either recently loosened restrictions or plan to in the coming week.
And the exact measures we have taken to stop the pandemic are now too often being flagrantly ignored. I would still encourage individuals to wear a mask.
We know that it can save tens of thousands of lives if people do this.
Meantime, vaccinations will soon be ramping up.
This country will have enough vaccine supply, I'll say it again, for every adult in America by the end of May.
That's 2 months ahead of schedule, partly because Johnson & Johnson and Merck are now working together to speed up production of J&J's single-dose shot, the pharmaceutical company's CEO on CNBC.
We're very excited about the potential impact that this can have overall on the situation.
That vaccine already making its way to some Americans on Tuesday.
The CDC reports more than 51 million Americans have had at least one shot. That's about 15% of the population. The Senate will narrow the income eligibility for the next round of coronavirus-related stimulus checks. A Democratic source says President Biden has agreed to the compromise with moderate Democrats that resulted in the change. That means fewer families will get a partial payment than would have under the original plan. Families who earn more than $160,000 a year and individuals who earn more than $80,000 will get no check at all. ABC News political director Rick Klein spoke with us today. He talked about the future of the COVID-19 relief bill and if he thinks it will pass without having too many changes.
It's got a decent shot. They can't lose any Democrats, though, at all. And that's the power of any one senator to rewrite portions of the bill comes into play, and it's already come into play. And I think you'll continue to see some provisions slimmed down, taken out, special projects maybe inserted or end arounds or other promises that are made. A 50-50 Senate, when you can't depend on any Republicans to be part of this, is as close as it gets, quite literally. They can't lose a single vote.
If you'd like to see our full interview with Rick Klein, just head on over to KLTV and KTRE.com and click on the big red box. New York Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo is apologizing today. Several women have come forward accusing him of making unwanted advances. But Cuomo says he never touched anyone, quote, inappropriately. Cuomo said he didn't know at the time he was making anyone uncomfortable.
You can go find hundreds of pictures of me kissing people, men, women. It is my usual and customary way of greeting. However, what I also understand is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter my intent. It was unintentional, and I truly and deeply apologize for it.
An independent investigation, which could see Cuomo compelled to testify, is poised to begin under the guidance of the state attorney general. Cuomo is rejecting calls to resign.